right, John. So our show is all about celebrating con culture and the inclusivity of the cons. Can you tell us just a little bit about your overall con experience?
Wow, that's a big question. I've been doing this for 11 years. I fall into it backwards, and I was immediately attracted to the people on the, and as you say, specifically, all the people that I got to meet that I was not really getting to see. And you've done this show many times. We see the whole spectrum. And I mean spectrum because we have autistic folks, we have people that are who do not comfortable in the regular world that are able to stretch their creativity as well and come out feeding themselves. It feels like such a safe place for a lot of people. I love seeing that. I love seeing the creativity. You won't get to see it as much. This town is rare because you see so much artistic, costuming and all sort of like that. A lot of places it feels like everything's kind of sat on and there's not a lot of expression. But for conventions, to see people kind of be able to spread their wings and do their thing is great. So, yeah.
So you have Derpy here.
Yes.
So how long did it take you to make Dave?
I had to mad rush it. I did it in 5 weeks. I was quick, fast. Yeah, and that includes the weapons and Sussy and the fort. He is not done, and I'll confess to that. I was gonna try to build a infinity year floor. Yeah. That will come eventually, but we simply ran out of time and budget. So hopefully next maybe not this show because we're doing Providence, Rhode Island next weekend, but after that we're trying to get done with that. So yeah.
You said you fell into this backwards.
Yeah, that was a weird story. I was in the fitness industry. I had small stuff I sculpted for people that supplemented come, and then every Halloween I'd go big. And I had this idea for about 8 years to make a big old Hulk costume that I was going to try to go around in. And I spent something like $1,000 to try to build this thing. I was sculpting mold casting. It was going all elaborate. And I got about 2/3 into it. And then I realized that my hands might not even reach the elbows. And I think that's going to kill me if I wear it. So what am I going to do now? I guess let's fill it up, make it a freestanding prop. And then somebody said, you should take that down to Comic-Con and Charge will take photos with it. And I said, can you do that? They're like, yeah, try that. I'm like, so I shelled out some money for 10 by 10 space, charged a nominal fee, $5 a shot. Made more in a weekend than 2.5 months of the job I was working. I was like, I'm doing the wrong thing. I'm in front of my job and started doing that. I was smart enough about 3 shows and, the Hulk was not going to make me a living. So I put out a little voting ballot. I had a little voting ballot, 4 different ideas. The last idea was this little black dragon that I thought nobody knew about, which was named Toothless.
Yeah.
I didn't know what I was doing. And everybody wanted to see Toothless. And I said, well, I guess if I'm going to do this, I'm going to go all in. And I spent 4.5 months building him to the T. And the next year, I put him back on the road and he went nuts for it. And thank God. And then 2 years later, I built the Iron Giant. And then the year later, I built the Light Fury for How to Train Your Dragon. And then from there, it was the Battle Cast, Keep Me on the Master Universe. And then from there was Appa from Last Airbender. And then Falcor, Rockbiter, Artax, and Morph from Neverending Story, and finally Derpy this year. So it's been a ride. It was doing good up until COVID.
Sure. Yeah.
Let me tell you, that was a stiff wall. I learned to kind of adapt there. I was very glad we got back on the road when we did.
Did you stay working during that time?
I tried to. We did a few things. I was working with the local drive-in. We did a few things, and then I sold a few pieces, that kind of thing. But it was a struggle. I was not expecting that. I literally just paid off the house. I'm thinking this is going to be the year. Yeah. Get everybody hit. Nope. It was sad. It's literally got one show in with the Battle Cats. We were lucky enough to have Alan Oppenheimer come on by who did the voice for Skeletor. So he came in that Friday. It would be great. I had made enough to maybe pay off half of what it costs to build them. Something great. 2 more shows. I'm in a clear. Never happened. And so I was already starting in a hole. And I worked my way down. So luckily, eventually, we had Appa, and Appa was a big hit. And very glad to have him. We toured for 2 years, met the entire cast, basically, had them all sign stuff. It was great.
Oh, that's awesome.
I've been very lucky with all of this. I've had super lucky. I just happened to bring Toothless to Montreal, and Jay Baruchel, who lives there, was not scheduled to be at that show. He decided at the last second to help promote a comic book that he was doing.
Nice.
And they're like, yes, Jay, you can do our show. And so they let him in, and they're like, literally, I'm loading Toothless in on Thursday. Like, Jay Baruchel's here. Ever played? Can you get him over? Yeah. And so I had to wait, and then it turns out you had to wait for the art department, I guess, to give approval. But they're like, absolutely, known about this guy. At this point, I've been doing like 30 shows. So like, yeah, get him over. So we got him, and that was great. And then I met people before they were like really getting their big certs, like Millie Bobby Brown and Peter Capaldi, and Danny Trejo, all those folks that comment up on Toothless, and then from there it was all sorts of people loved ABBA. So it was just, like I said, the entire cast there, and then we got, like I said, Alan Oppenheimer again, got the Seinfeld for, and all the characters, he did the voice for them too. Tammy Stronish played the child, like Empress came up and did it, and so that was all. So just like crazy moments at Zach, another great thing, I forgot that's where I forgot Zach's last name, the gentleman who plays Aang from Last Airbender. Yeah. Never done a show. First show we did, it was actually the third show of the season. We were in Chicago. It was his first show. We were there with Nappa. Him and Sokka and Zuko all got up there at the same time. That was like huge. It was like just stupid lucky. I don't know. I mean, it's somebody up there must like me. I must be doing the right thing. So, it seems to make people happy. I'm very glad to see people smile. I had a few people cry. Yeah. It's amazing touching. You get a grown adult that's attached to this and have them touch his face, and they just melt. Some folks that were saving Artex were just like crying, getting over that childhood trauma. It's cathartic. It's wonderful to watch and very touching. So I'm very lucky to see that. So, you get to see smiles, so it's great. And I had 2 marriage proposals in front of Toothless and Light for, so oh my gosh, it's crazy. Yeah, it's a weird ride. So, not too much hate. I've had a few people get, like, you didn't get this right.
Oh my gosh.
But please everybody. Yeah, I always say the same thing now. It's like, well, I look forward to see your version.
That's a great answer. Yeah.
Great. I didn't mean that. It's fine. It's all right. So, I work hard. I try, but you don't get everybody happy, but everything.
So which of these is the biggest one you've done? And how long?
Well, yeah, biggest was definitely Iron Giant. Yeah. He was 15 feet tall, 11-foot hand. He was about 25 pieces.
Yeah.
It was an exercise of engineering. That wasn't so much art, it was like measuring and figuring out how to take a 16-inch sculpt statue and then convert it to that in like centimeter units to inches, and then from inches to feet, and then make it full scale. And then how do I assemble and unassemble and get that into a trailer? So that was more of like, how do I do that? And so I was halfway through it before I had any idea to how to put the head up on the neck, because I was like, well, I kept looking at her. And I'm like, I'm running out of things to do before I get to that. I go do the hand first, and I was like, okay, I built the jaw, and I built the neck, and then I'm like, here's the head. Okay, now how do I get the head to sit above ground 5 feet? And then I'm like, and there was many hours when I was like, okay, I think that would work. And so, yeah, I used 2x4s and what I call pizza, which is a pole that went straight down with 2x4s crossed over twice, ran down, and then the pizza was the part where the pieces set on, and then where the 2x4s crossed over, they connect the pieces to the 4 pieces all the way around, and then click into place with latches. And it held together long enough for 5 shows, and then it started to come apart a little bit, and we're like 16 clamps to hold it all together, and we're like, nah, we better call it soon. So the coolest part was the best moment I had with him was when Kevin Conroy came by, and I had a speaker system built into his neck, and then had it on my thing, and I was able to go, Batman, and he was like. And then I had the eyes change colors and stuff like that, so he just thought that was the weirdest thing. So that was a lot of fun. And then, of course, we lost Kevin not that long after that. So, and it's crazy how many people I met before they passed. Like Grant Imahara, the first year I did with Iron Giant, I got to meet him in some Mythbusters, and then he passed at a young age. And lots of other folks. Byrne, little mini-me, he came on by, hung on, he passed away too. So it's crazy. It's like, wow, he's like, they're lucky. So. But, yep, I'm sorry. Any other questions?
All right. Go on.
I've only got a couple more. We were wondering, you talked about all the pieces that go into, so we wait on that. Speaking of putting all the pieces together for Iron Giant, what is the planning that goes into getting, you said earlier that you're bringing a trailer in here to get him out.
Right.
What goes into planning as far as getting in and out of venues?
Oh, well, again, it's always nice that they let you drive on. I mean, most of the time they will at this point. We've done this enough shows that they will do that. If there's occasion where they can't let you do it, sometimes they can eventually not let anybody on the board. Sure. It's always about wheels. Whatever you can put on wheels, we can figure out how to assemble whatever. He does have a platform, although right now, because the platform wasn't built correctly, they broke the 2 pieces. It's fine. I built them basically roller skates, so we can kind of roll them up into the trailer. There's a 4x6. I'll call it a dolly that we can put the We have a green room back there that we made for people to go back there, pretend green room that we can put the couch on, and we'll put all the poles on. So basically, we can probably get all this down to where we just have 2 things and everything gets low count to, and then we can roll those 2 weeks out. But he's one of the simplest things we ever done because there's a whole lot of room left of the trailer. So it's not like we're cramming. With the Iron Giant, it was like every inch counted. You had to get it just right. So I literally had to figure out a Tetris system that could get most of him in the first 12 feet. And if we get just the head and the neck left for the last 12, then we were doing great. So, and that was like, yeah, if we could do that, it fits fine, door closes. After that, you struggle a little bit. But, yeah, so it's all about wheels, keeping it light as you can. He probably still weighs about 300 to 400 pounds just because he's got a wood frame.
Right.
But styrofoam, expandify, and most of the stuff I build is that styrofoam. If I can do it that way, I keep it as light as possible. So, but Appa was probably the heaviest, about 3,000 pounds. He's got like a wood frame. I use an inflatable bladder in safe space. The tail is also inflatable. So, but with the wood frame behind the neck that people have to go up the stairs to get up on there, that has to be strong. And I was like, I could have done it in metal, but it would have been even harder. Wood was the easiest solution. So that's what we did with that one. So, yeah. It's always a lot of it. Like I do measurements. I can't tell how many times I've actually taped off the length of the trailer and would put it in and then would lay it in there to see what pieces would fit, how much space I would have left with those pieces. And that's the way you could do it because you're like, otherwise you're going to run out. As much as I would love to do, like this guy's going to get more of an elaborate background and stuff. We'll have some more fun stuff with that, little lights and stuff, but you can do what you got. I hope one day to have permanent displays for all these guys, and then I can go crazy with making it a much more immersive experience. I want to make it like definitely more like you're stepping into that world, like much like they do with like Universal. And
Right, you're saying like a permanent like go to see it, like
Yes.
ticket prices to go see it.
Well, I mean, yeah, ticket price. Yeah, absolutely. I'd probably go mine if you've ever been to Salem. They do the thing where they do the costumes that you can actually say I want to wear this or this, and then you photo ops with them that way. That'd be great. I think
That would be very cool.
I would love to do an indoor, like before all this. We have an indoor golf.
Right.
LED, and nods to like the old black and whites like them with big gates and stuff with the gray Harry house and the stop action characters and stuff. I love all the Sinbad movies. The skeleton soldiers, all that stuff.
That would be amazing.
That would be a lot of fun. So in the mat, I hope I can bring it forward. We'll see how it goes.
We'll be pulling for that for sure.
I'm in Indianapolis. I don't know if I'm going to be there permanently, but that's probably maybe where we'd be based out of, but we'll see. So, okay.
Tell the people what you got going on next. What's your next step?
My next thing to build?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. I'm taking a break. Man, God, I have been working my butt off until I got here. I don't know yet. I've always asked for ideas. I've have people pitch me stuff. A lot of people want, Fright Night with Freddy? Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Thought about maybe that. I haven't actually watched any of that, so I'll have to catch that and see what that is. A lot of this stuff, I'm like, I'll hear about it, and like, well, Opera was a perfect example. People kept bringing that name up, and I never watched Airbender. I mean, I was working full-time when that came out on Nickelodeon, and I was like, you know what? Netflix popped that out, and COVID's here. Guess what? I get to sit and watch. So I watched 3 seasons. I'm like, okay, I get it. Opera Spill. Here, all right, I'll do that. So that's what I do. So if I feel like there's a great character out there that I haven't touched on yet, I try to find stuff that checks the boxes, that is emotional content, maybe something like E.T., this sort of thing. But, tugs at the heartstrings, something timely, usually what it is, family-friendly general. I threw a lot of horror, although I started working on a shark at one point.
A shark named Bruce?
It was I built it real quickly for the drive-in because the 50th anniversary was last year.
Okay, yeah.
But I did a very quick, you're talking like 2-week job of a shark, and it's like, it looks okay, but it's not my stuff. It's not my work. It's like, there you go.
Yeah.
And then I have to go back and make it really elaborate. He's cool. And then you slide down his throat.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I want to do all that stuff. So, yeah. But down the road.
Where's your next con stop?
Providence, Rhode Island. We're doing Rhode Island anime.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's actually this next weekend. Luckily, it's a 2 day. So that gives us another day to get there. So we're at a little bit of drive. Something like 1,400 miles, 1,200 miles, something like that. Okay. Yeah. A little bit of haul. So.
Well, John, we really appreciate the time.
My pleasure. I appreciate and getting to ramble a little bit.
Absolutely.